Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, another episode of Trash Talk. I'm Damian Hill. With me, as always, is TJ O'Connor. Tonight, we're joined by James Clark, the owner and operator of Valhalla Combat Sports Promotions, and we're going down the lineup in the card of the grappling matches, sorry, and the kickboxing portion of the card going down this weekend, Saturday, July 25th. But first, our sponsors. Valhalla Combat Sports Incorporated, Ink Shrink Statue out of New Brighton, Minnesota, Origin Wellness CBD, The Striking Institute, Spartan Martial Arts, James Clark Sports Psychology and Hypnosis Therapy, The Fighters, and TJ's mom. How you doing tonight, Jim?
Good. Yourselves?
Doing good.
Yeah, I'm doing well.
Yeah. I guess this card came together in the whole COVID situation, the second one that you've been able to put on during the COVID lockdown and everything, but things are starting to open back up, less restrictions, but more things opening up just with more restrictions, I guess is how I should put it.
Right.
But going into this card, how are you planning on starting off the card, and how is it going to work with the grappling event being in the, because previously I believe you've done them in the cage and in the ring. How is it going to go down this time?
We'll do the same. We'll do some jiu-jitsu matches in the ring, for example. Like there's some that'll be like IBJJF, those like 5-minute, points. Like the IBJJF, you can do points like 2 points for a takedown, 3 points for passing guard, that type of thing. So we'll do the IBJJF, and then some EBI, those 10-minute sub-onlys. We'll do those in the ring, and then in the cage we'll just do the 10-minute sub-onlys over there. I think we've got. I mean, you have the lineup in front of you. I have it on Facebook, but.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Okay, cool. Anyway, I think we got about maybe 8 or 9 jiu-jitsu matches. In the past we've had sometimes 40, but because of the COVID, a lot of people don't want to touch each other. So there we've got, I think, 8 or 9 jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing, I show 9 grappling matches and then 8 kickboxing matches. So a lot of competition.
Yeah, we got 17 matches. That should be good.
Yeah,
should be good.
This is the first time that you've actually are competing in a grappling match on your own card in I feel like a long time. It feels like forever.
Yeah, the last time was a wrestling match against that guy up from Canada. That was the guy that was on their Olympic team up there in Canada. That was in November, our Thanksgiving card. So that was the last time I competed. The one before that, I went against John Larson, the black belt out of Regan Machado or like McEwen. So I went against him on the show before that. But yeah, I haven't competed since Thanksgiving.
Okay, yeah. So Anton Marshall, Zachariah Jones, Sam Hernandez, Timothy is it Lang?
Leung or something, Long.
Yeah. Okay. Colin Ruby, Cole Ulrich, Vincent Flores Jr., Mike Waverick. Yeah, dude, this is pretty stacked grappling matches lined up on that card. I mean, I'm excited for a lot of those guys to be competing again and actually have the opportunity to compete.
Right. And you guys know the Highlander, Jake Immel?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's a brown belt now, so he's got a match against this guy's a pretty good wrestler. So
he does have a match. He just messaged. I still haven't opened up his message yet. But I just seen that he had messaged me today. I'm like, yeah, he does have a match. That's yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, okay. You remember him? He used to fight MMA, but he's been on our card a few times doing jiu-jitsu. But yeah, he's a pretty high level guy. And he's going against a guy. It's a lower belt, but a pretty high level wrestler, I think. So that should be a good match.
Yeah. And then I'm excited to see the kickboxing portion also. Granted that I am the main event of this card, but at the same time, that allows me a chance to sit there and watch some of these fights, especially starting it off with the banger with Limberto Ibarra versus Blake Bergeson. And that Blake is a guy that I know has been working his ass off trying to get back into the game and is extra motivated. And Limberto doesn't shy away from anybody in his always willing to take on any challengers. If you guys haven't seen the pre-fight interview that we've done with them, people watching this right now, be sure to go check that out after we're done, because you can see it and you can hear the type of warrior that he is. That's one of the fights.
I like those. I like those kind of matches. Like jiu-jitsu matches where one guy is like a good wrestler, the other guy's a good jiu-jitsu. So the wrestler sometimes can take the jiu-jitsu guy down like right into side control, but the jiu-jitsu guy would have a bit more of an advantage in the guard. So I think that'll be like for that Jake Immel match against the wrestler, to see who gets that where they want to be. And then getting back to Lamberto and Blake, like Blake is a bit taller, has a longer reach, so it would behoove him to stay outside and keep his punches at length. But Lamberto's a stalker, bob and weaver. He's going to come in. So that dichotomy of one guy wants to stay outside, the other guy wants to get inside. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, and I see that you added Rishi Zeitz versus Noah Scholand. So I said it right finally.
Yeah.
That fight, as soon as I read that one, it stood up, because I know both those guys. I like both those guys, and one has been training and getting ready and honing their skills, and I mean Noah, and then the other one is just operates off of pure determination and Russian blood. I mean, Grisha, Greg the Russian, for everybody that doesn't know him, that is his nickname in fighting, is Greg the Russian. And I don't think I need to say any more. You can probably just start imagining his badass fighting style.
Yeah, that's a really fun fight that came together at the last minute. I feel like it's a good fight because, like you said, Noah's been working. He's been stepping up in competition, and I feel like this is the next step in competition. I feel like Greg's been in there with some high-level guys before in the past and got his hand raised. So
yeah, Greg's had 6 fights, and then Noah's had 4 kickboxing matches. So yeah, and we know both the guys. They don't know each other at all, but we know both of them, and it's an even match up there.
Yeah. Well, there's a fight that I'm kind of interested to hear how it even came together, to be honest. And this, I'm not trying to insult you at all, but Aaron Callahar versus Josh Clark.
Yeah.
This is crazy story. How much time do you guys have? Yeah, crazy story. So yeah, I didn't have those two matched up. Aaron Callahar, Damian, I sent you the screenshots of his of his messages. I didn't post them out in the open, but I sent them to you, and then I put them on our private team wall too, just so people could see them. But yeah, he wrote me a letter because he had fought Matthias Joyce, and Matthias Joyce hurt his knee in that fight, but Callahar's hand was raised, so I mean he did technically win that fight, and he did lose like a jiu-jitsu match to Michael Carlson, one of our grapplers in the gym. So yeah, he writes to me this letter that said he wants a rematch against Michael Carlson, and he goes, "I'm gonna kill him, sir." And then he said he wants a rematch with Matthias Joyce, and didn't like how that turned out, wants to actually beat him for real. So like some of the guys on the team were just kind of raising their eyebrows at that. And then he did not write me this himself, but his coach or manager, his epitome of knowledge, Adam Kastner, came to one of our I had a seminar. I had this pretty high level guy, Spencer Mume. He goes by Babalu Mume, like world class jiu-jitsu guy. I had him do a seminar at our gym, and then Adam Kastner came to that. And while we were during the downtime, he said that this Callahar, who's because I guess he sort of manages Callahar and he corners him. He was saying that he wanted to fight Josh Clark, he wanted to fight Noah. So he's just kind of going down the line, picking guys out on our team, wanting to fight him. So, but I just kind of ignored all that because, just to be honest, I don't think he really deserved the fight with Josh yet. I'm not even saying this because Joshua's my son, but I'm just looking at who they are. This guy has one win. Joshua's 4-0 in MMA and ranked second up in the upper Midwest or first. He's rated first, I think. Yeah, he's rated first in the upper Midwest and 4-0 in MMA, 2-0 in kickboxing. So I really didn't think that Callahar had deserved that fight yet, to be fair, but this is just things that kind of worked out where Ryan Gell was supposed to come down from Canada, but the Prime Minister of Canada extended blocking the border there. It was supposed to open up July 21st, but he extended it to August 21st, so he couldn't come down. The Gell fight was the only one that Jeremiah Harper was interested in. He said he wanted to fight the guy from Canada or wanted to go back to boxing or trying to get that sorted out with his boxing career. So those things fell off. Callahar was supposed to fight some guy named Tim Bender from Duluth, but Bender wrote and said he had to go out of town for his job. So Callahar really didn't have a fight. So then guys on the team were looking at all those messages. I'm going to kill him, sir, and things that he was saying through his coach that he wanted to fight Josh, whatever. So I set that up. But after watching his interview on your show, and I even told him this, like you guys know that I say what I say to a guy, what I say on your show, I'd say to a guy's face or I'd say to himself. I don't change. Whatever I say behind a guy's back, I'd also say to his face. But I wrote him because I watched his interview on your show, and I did, this is what I told him. I go, you've kind of talked yourself out of that fight with Joshua. I told him your self-effacing way you talk about yourself. You made yourself sound like a guy with a fucking cup in his hand. I go, you made yourself, like that you thought you were fighting for a while, but you didn't think it was so technical, so you went back to volleyball and basketball. So I just wrote him and I go, this fight really, the way you came across in that interview, it really doesn't make any sense anymore. You act like, because he was kind of really sandbagging himself, saying that he's only been training for 6 months, which isn't true. I remember, you guys remember him coming in with Tony Roth and Nick Schmidtke like 8 years ago. So he's been around the game longer than he came across in that interview. Like he was coming in with those guys 8 years ago. So he's been around the game. But as far as I know, I don't know where else he's trained. He keeps that information kind of close to the vest. But, when he said that he's only been training for 6 months, I just told him, this fight doesn't really make any sense because Joshua Clark has been training since he's 8 years old. He's 20 now, and he's undefeated in, combat sports. So I said, it doesn't make sense. I was going to cancel it. But then he started talking crap again, saying that he was going to kill Joshua. And then I sent you those screenshots, Damian, so you know that they were from him. So he said he was going to kill Joshua, and he said that Joshua's afraid of him, and that's why we were going to cancel the fight, not because of anything he said. So because of all the crap, I've just booked it again. Yeah. So I don't like booking mismatches. You guys know that, and I think on paper it's a bit of a mismatch but Joshua is coming up 2 weight classes to fight him, and so that could make a bit of a difference. Because you guys know this from fighting. You come up 1 weight class. Remember when like BJ Penn came up 1 weight class against GSP and got crushed? Yeah. So Joshua's really coming up too. Joshua's a 125 pounder. He walks around at 137. Like he'll weigh in with all of his clothes on because the fight's at 145. So anyway, I booked it. We'll see how it goes, but
it's those things like I don't know what's the saying? Run up, get done up. Don't talk about the smoke if you don't want the smoke. Yeah. Don't I get he asked for it, and if you ask, thou shalt receive. So but it is what it is. The dude talked his way into a big fight. This is what trash talk's all about, guys.
Yeah, we were actually talking amongst ourselves at the gym. This is what I was saying to some of the guys. I go, he's the anti-McGregor. Like, I know guys from Ireland. You guys know that I've lived there before, and I know guys. I don't know Conor McGregor personally. I've never met him, but I know guys who know him personally, and they would say, like, when he was younger, like when he was even like a teenager, and then he was first starting out in MMA. He was a soft-spoken, quiet guy, kind of shy. He would go to his fights, wouldn't talk any crap, just fight and leave. But his persona when he got to the UFC changed, because you have to be a showman. You kind of have to be a businessman. But that wasn't his nature originally. He was more of a soft-spoken guy. So, and then Cowboy Cerrone even said this about Conor McGregor. Backstage in the locker room, he was nice, shaking people's hands and being nice. But when he got in front of the camera, he was being mean. This Callahar is the difference. When he got in front of the camera with you guys, he was acting like Dr. Jekyll. But then when he gets on the computer behind the keyboard, then he turns into Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
He's the opposite. He's Mike Wall without the crack pipe.
All right. And then further down the card, I guess, TJ.
Yeah, another fight that really excites me, and it came together at last minute. So, without, look to see how it plays out, is Eric Scribseth versus Jimmy Padilla. Both these guys are experienced. Eric, recently went pro, had a couple pro fights. Jimmy's an LFA veteran. He's been in there with some tough competition before. I'm really excited to see how that fight plays out as well.
Yeah, that should be a good one. And that one came together last minute. I had somebody else against Scribseth. I don't want to tell people's medical stuff, but his original opponent wrote me and said that he's been around people that have corona, and he's getting tested. He won't have his results back in time before the fight, and I asked him if he had symptoms, and he said that he's got a headache. So I told him I really can't take the chance there. I said, if people knew that I booked a guy that might have corona and he infected people, I could get sued. So I just told him, just be well. I'll rebook that another day.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry about the phone there, fellas. I should turn that off. Anyway, but I just made a post because I was trying to find a replacement for Scribseth, and then Jimmy Padilla stepped up, and both high level guys. We'll see.
Yeah, no, that's a really good fight. And then what is it? Falcino Moreno, is that how you pronounce his first name?
Yeah. He's technically a pro fighter as well, but to be fair, and like no insult to him, but like he's a veteran. He's been fighting for 12 years or whatever. But back in the day, people would have maybe 1 or 2 amateur fights and then turn pro. So he's like, he even fought Dan Kaiser like when they were both amateurs. I think it was both their debuts or something. But he's had like a couple amateur fights, and he turned pro right away. So Joe is 1-0. He's only been training for about 8 months or so. But I watch Joe, and I've seen film on Faustino, even though Faustino's a pro. Yeah. Joe's starting out. He's been a quick learner. I think it's a fair fight. So
definitely. I agree, and I'm just excited to see the matchup because it's one of those things that you said where you are able to watch and you've seen both guys. It's styles make fights, and it's the stylistic matchup that I'm excited for. And I know it's an exciting fight to make, and whether people know it on paper or not is their prerogative. I see the excitement in that fight, right? So I'm excited to see how it actually turns out. And I guess moving further on the card, TJ, do you have any other fights?
I don't want to mention it. I don't want to go without mentioning it, but we got Abazov versus Daniel Pagabrand. I honestly don't have a lot. I've seen Daniel fight before. I know he's high paced. I don't know much about Abaz. But I'm looking forward to seeing this fight, as always.
It's actually, sorry to interrupt you, TJ. It's actually a rematch. These two fought each other in MMA.
Oh.
Like you've seen Paul Graban on our show. Like he's 1-0. He beat I can't remember the fella's name, but it was a good fight. Like he's 1-0, but he looked pretty tough. But actually, Paul Graban actually lost to Abbas in a MMA fight. Abbas got him in an armbar in 59 seconds. But this one is going to be, all stand up, and so they're both in. So it's a rematch of an MMA fight.
Oh yeah.
And then you want to start us off with the co-main event, Damian? I know this is one that you don't get to watch it as live as you want, but tell us.
Well, it's one of those ones where it's just exciting. The matchup from both guys, Alfonso Bell and Bodie Fitzsimmons. Alfonso loves to throw hands. Bodie is really good in the clinch and knows how to work high and low with his kicks. And I'm just excited to see how both of them answer the pressure, because both of the guys love to move forward, and both of them do really well when they're moving forward. But at the same time, Bodie has been able to catch, I guess it was Limberto in that fight, where Limberto was coming forward and he was walking right into the clinch, and Bodie was able to take advantage of that. And that's all because Limberto was moving forward. So it'd be nice to see how he reacts to that, or how Alfonso adjusts to his basically baiting and waiting to land the knees to the body. And because of Alfonso's pressure, how is he going to adjust to Bodie's knees? And dude, it's just really exciting to see two guys that know how to bang and have, I guess, the same type of styles, but with very different tools, if you will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I agree. I think this is an interesting fight because you mentioned it. Bodie's a guy that he's gone out there every time, and it's gone his way. He's gotten his hand raised every single time. Alfonso has been there. He's faced he's had the tough fights, had the victories. And, I mean, I'm interested to see if Alfonso can stop that pressure. Both of these guys, when they hit their opponents, you see the look on their faces. So there's big power in this fight. I mean, who knows if this fight goes 3 rounds, but I hope it does, selfishly.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good fight. Hey, guys, sorry for, I seem to, distracted. I keep looking up in the corner here, and I go, who put Mr. Magoo up there? And I'm thinking it's fucking me. You guys remember that cartoon, Mr. Magoo?
Yeah.
I look like that in the reflection of this thing.
Yeah, I remember they made a movie when I was a kid. It's a blind guy.
Back in the 70s, I bet.
And this main event, this is a fun one, and I'm going to pretend like the person that's to my left on the screen here isn't in the conversation, because I'm going to talk about him in the third person. It's Damian Hill versus Clay Udley. I think this is a really fun fight. I mean, obviously the fans agree. This has had a lot of promotion behind it. Both guys have been going back and forth. I think if you were to ask Vegas, Damian would technically be a slight favorite coming in, but Clay is a guy that has been in there with everybody. He's fought some of the toughest guys in the state, and he gets his hand raised. So I'm interested to see how this fight plays out. I mean, it's going to only 3 2-minute rounds like all the other fights. So it's going to be high pace for both of these guys. These guys can do that in their sleep. And I mean, I'm interested to see how this fight plays out, even though I hate one of the participants.
Yeah, well, Clay is one of those guys that his knockouts have come early in the fights, and they've come later on in the fights. He has the ability to finish the fight well within the 6-minute range of this entire fight in all 3 rounds. I mean, he's been around the game for a long time, well over 10 years of experience, training with some of the best fighters in the state, training in Mankato, the academy, the fight squad. I mean, getting work with a lot of different guys for a lot of different years, and ultimately has been training with some of the guys a bunch of guys that have fought Damian or were slated to fight Damian. And I just believe that gives him a little bit of an edge. And if Damian is the favorite in this fight, he shouldn't be. Clay's been there. He's been doing that. And he's probably had to simulate Damian in training for his other teammates before. So it's not unbelievable or implausible to say that he knows exactly what Damian has to bring and has an answer for it.
Here's my view on it. Like we were just talking earlier, there's that dichotomy. Like for getting back to Lamberto and Blake, one guy wants to get inside, the other guy wants to stay out long range. But what I see in this fight is speed versus size. Like Damian, I think you have the speed advantage. I think you're quite a bit faster, but he'll probably outweigh you by a bit. I know that his usual fighting weight is like, what does he like fight at? 170, 155 usually. I think he's probably going to come in like 180, and you've been in the gym at like 160, so there'd be a little bit of a size advantage. So it would be smart for him to try to like pin you against the ropes or the cage, and if you're out in the center, I would see you have an advantage. So that's why I see that fight as speed versus size, or speed and strength. I mean, you're at 160, you're a pretty strong guy too, and I haven't seen a lot of guys, even though they're heavier and you kind of push you around, but he will have a size advantage. So size versus speed, that's how I see it. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited for this fight. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how this all plays out. You can see how it plays out live. Still get tickets. Be there, be square. The Moon Plaza, University Avenue. Jim probably has the specific address way better than I do.
Yep, it's we're Moon Plaza in Fridley. The address is 6269 University Avenue Northeast in Fridley, Minnesota. If you're looking at the building, we're to the very left, Valhalla Combat Sports.
I'll have the address in the description and all that shit. Like this video, subscribe to Trash Talk with Damian and TJ. Do not be a hoe.